I'm going to talk a bit about self-awareness. I believe it's a very important topic if we want to have a much better life experience, especially given this ever-changing world in which we live. Do you realize that just about every day you are being conditioned and programmed into being who you are? And your life is actually a reflection of this programming. You think what you think, you feel what you feel, and have what you have because of it. And if for some reason you do not like your life, it is not good enough, it is all because of this sort of brainwashing and programming that you're going through. But wait, let me show you how not to view brainwashing or conditioning or programming as a bad thing, but actually to use it, how you can use it to your advantage to create a better life experience. You see, most people are waiting for the effect, that is, of a good life, to have a good life, have something great in life, something they want, before they can actually feel good and be happy. When really and truly, in order to have that life, you have to do the reverse. You must first have the right kind of thoughts and perceptions, good feelings of joy, of contentment, of happiness. Speak the right kind of words, elevating words, take appropriate actions, and have a level of faith, all of which are the cause that are required to create the effect of a good life or something you want. You know the lamenters in the Bible, Holy Bibles, such as David in the book of Psalms. In Psalm 141, David actually reached a point whereby he asked God, he said, "Please, God, keep my heart free from evil." David became self-aware to be able to ask that God to do this. He realized he had evil thoughts that had evil wishes in his heart. So he had a level of realization and he changed his way of thinking and feeling. Because what David did, he was something else. He used to wish really horrible things upon his enemies, which was working against himself. Because when he was wishing such horrible things upon his enemies, it wasn't making him feel any better. His life wasn't improving. He just ended up being more miserable and unhappier. So David had this realization, and what he started to do was he started to praise God. For the lamenters, that is when their life experience started to improve. In scriptures, in Ephesians chapter 4:29, it says, "Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers." Now, it is saying, in order for you to speak good, it means that you must have the right thinking. You must have good thoughts to be able to say good words. Because when you say good things, what does edifying means? It illumines, it improves, it inspires, and that ministers grace unto the hearer. So if you're saying good things, even if somebody isn't, you don't have an audience to listen to what good thing you are saying, who is the first one going to hear what you are saying? It's going to be you. So you're thinking good things, you're speaking that good, and that good edifies, illumines, improves, and inspires grace upon the one who is hearing, which is you. So why does one's life experience tend to improve in praising God, in praising on the whole, but lamentation will keep you down? Well, bad, negative, defeating thoughts, feelings, emotions, speech, and actions are all disempowering. And if you feel your life is cursed in some way and you end up cursing others as David did, how can you expect blessings to come from that? Such bad cannot bring good or favorable results. If you feed poison to a fruit tree, will it flourish and bear fruit? Absolutely not. The poison will kill the fruit tree. So too, your poisonous thoughts, your, this poisonous and disempowering way of thinking, poisonous beliefs and perceptions and emotions will end up killing or hindering the flourishing of anything good in your life, and therefore it cannot bring good fruit for you. On the other hand, good, positive, elevating thoughts, speech, feelings, emotions, actions, blessing your life and blessing others, praising God, and being thankful on an ongoing basis will eventually produce favorable results, as these are very empowering. And you may find when you start changing and having good, elevating ways of thinking and speaking and doing things, you may find that things may not change for you immediately, but over time, as the vibration of higher level thoughts and feelings increase, improvement will occur. This higher level thinking, feeling, and being all end up placing you in a different energy field where there are different and better possibilities. When you change the way you think and perceive, when you change your feelings in an uplifting way, it is like a new person is emerging, a new reality. You have fresh vision. You see things so brighter, differently. And that is why, again, in scriptures, in the Holy Bible, it proves it. It ratifies this point. It says in Ephesians chapter 4, verses 23 to 24, be renewed in the spirit of your mind, meaning renew the way you think, that ye may put on the new man or woman, which after God is created in righteousness and true holiness. So you renew your mind with right thinking and true holiness or pure thoughts. And what emerges is a new person, a new reality, because now you're alive in a different inner world and are in a different state of being. Now, notice it talks about true holiness. So you want not just to have the right thinking if you want something good in your life. If you really want something and you've been negative about it, and you start to change it to a positive way of thinking so you can really keep his mind positive to achieve it. And if it is something like, such as, oh, I think I want that person's spouse. Now, what you end up doing there is thinking positively, but you're having an impure thought, an unholy thought, in other words, because now you're coveting someone's spouse. So don't go creating this way of thinking, otherwise, it's going to bring ruin to your life. So, anytime you want to feel better and be in a better position in life, whatever you perceive that better to be, you must start first by being in a better state of being through a renewed mind with right thinking. But how do you do that when you're being continuously conditioned and programmed on an ongoing basis? Well, to explain that, we're going to bridge science with spirituality. Science will talk about the hardware, the brain, which is the physical proof, and spirituality will talk about the software, the mind, or the subtler consciousness, which is really about the experience. So let us now look at how you're being programmed, because many people are unaware of this. Let's just try an experiment, maybe for 3 days to a week, whatever suits you. Watch and listen to messages only on war and world issues. Nothing spiritual, nothing elevating. And notice the shift in your thinking and how you feel. And you're going to notice that you're going to become a very mental person. You may even become anxious, depressed, and hopeless. Watch how the view you have of life begins to change and how it affects your feelings and the kind of choices you make. Now, after that, for another 3 days to a week, don't watch any of that kind of stuff. Nothing on war, nothing on issues, nothing on conflict, nothing too worldly. But instead, engage in all things spiritual. Watch spiritual videos, read spiritual literature, listen to a spiritual teacher, pray, meditate, and notice what happens to you. How you start to lean toward more that which is sacred and elevating. Why is this happening? And it's very simple. It is because a programming is taking place that most people do not realize is happening to them on a daily basis in both cases. It comes from everything in our external environment that leaves imprints on our consciousness, on our psyche. And the more we allow ourselves to be exposed to the same thing, the deeper is the imprint, and the longer the trail, and the more reinforced is the idea or belief. And neuroscience proves this. It says that your environment turns on different circuits in your brain that makes you think the same as your environment. Whether whatever is bombarding you it's subtle or whether it's deliberate on your part. Subtle, such as billboards that has advertisements in it. When you go online, there might be ads flashing, catching your attention in your peripheral view. Whatever info we expose ourselves to, deliberately or not, gets converted by neurons or nerve cells into electrical signals carried to the brain. And neurons are basically information messengers using electrical impulses and chemical signals to transmit information between different areas in the brain and from the brain to the rest of the nervous system. Now, science says that we have billions of neurons. So look at how much info we carry and the variety. The question is, what kind of info we have stored up in us? Is it healthy? Is it beneficial? Is it the opposite? Or is it both, and in what proportion? How is the scale tipping? Is it tipping towards the healthy and beneficial or the negative? Now, not all programming is bad. It all depends upon the effect the programming has on you, the quality of life experience you are having. And that all depends upon how aware you are of the programming that is going on. Are you the one choosing the programming and making the right and beneficial choice of how you're being programmed for a healthier, a happier, for a good life? So the question arises, isn't it time we all become self-aware and conscious, more conscious, and start limiting what we allow ourselves to be exposed to on a daily basis? Do you know that there are poor people in maybe third world countries, such as third world countries actually, who do not have access to a lot of information like we do here in North America? Nor do they have access to a lot of things. They may not have the material comfort that we enjoy here. And yet, they are happier than most of us. All of us who have all our mobile devices, access to tons of information on TV, on the internet. And they are happier mainly because they are less exposed, less penetrated, less programmed by non-beneficial ideas and concepts such as how great we can become, right? How to become a genius, how to have so much stuff, otherwise who you are, how to become somebody. They have less of that exposure, and therefore their lives tend to be a little happier, or probably much more happier, much happier than ours. Now, try another experiment. Notice when you keep on grumbling about people whom you don't like, who do not like you, who are against you, or about something unsatisfactory in your life, or if you have this feeling that your life is cursed, notice that no positive change is occurring. And why is this? Because you keep reinforcing negative, disempowering thoughts in the mind, the software, to create negative, low level feelings, which means in the hardware, the brain, you are firing up you're firing up the same kind of neurons, and whatever you fire up wires together. So you have a wire of disempowerment. And in order to change your life experience, you have to fire now to rewire more empoweringly. So, in other words, you're going to have to change your mindset, the kind of info and beliefs you have. Now, if you start blessing these people whom you think are against you, whom you don't like, or who don't like you, or if it is a situation that you're dealing with that is not favorable, start looking for the good in it, some kind of blessing in it. And do this continuously and keep focusing on the good. And a change will eventually occur. I guarantee you it because I speak from experience. The reason the change will take time to show up, that there is a delay, is that there is this trail of old pattern of negative thinking and feelings and behaviors deep in the psyche, existing simultaneously while you're trying to make the change of looking for the good, while you are developing a new pattern of an elevated way of thinking. On a physical level, what is happening is that a rewiring is taking place in the brain. For the neuron to fire the elevated thought, it must be, according to science, at an amplitude greater than the opposing thought. And scientists have actually measured the amplitude as being minus 50 to minus 55 MV in order to cross that threshold potential to become a new reality for you. On a spiritual level, what it says is that our dominant thought creates our reality. Right? Our dominant belief creates our reality. Neurons take info from our external environment and convert it into electrical signals to the brain and these electrical signals are actually called action potentials. And I find it very fascinating. It's only a potential, right? So the info is only a potential until the amplitude of it crosses the threshold potential of minus 50 to minus 55 MV for it to become a reality. And for that to happen, it means you have to ramp up the new thinking, reinforce it deeply. So it's very important to keep reinforcing deliberately with the emotion and feeling of belief for the new thought that you're trying to implant in you, for it to overpower, defeat, or demobilize your opposing thought in order for you to have a new state of being with a new reality for a new person to emerge. So how do you go about reinforcing a new and elevated pattern of thinking, feeling, and behaviors? I'll share with you some suggested ways as follows. The first one is to become very self-aware. In other words, be constantly alert of yourself. Start noticing how you're working against yourself to have the life experience you want. What you are allowing into your life to define you and to influence you. Is it adverse or is it positive? And if it's adverse, to take the steps to disidentify from it, remove yourself from such influences so as to disempower and dissolve these so that you would stop reinforcing them and start noticing the patterns that work favorably for you in life. Be deliberate and intentional about building on these and reinforcing these so that your neurons are going to fire and wire in the right way for you. The second one, I would say, start looking very closely at your external environment. Start being wise about choosing the right external environment for you. And if you need to change it, change your external environment. And your external environment is really made up of your physical space and all the influences you allow into your life. Change those aspects over which you have control, such as the places you visit, the kind of videos you watch, or podcasts you listen to, the people you engage with and have conversations with, the literature you reach. Look at what's happening in your peripheral view. Be very aware of what flashes on the side of you, such as ads, words. All these impact your being, and you are picking up these on a subtle level. Be careful to what you listen and digest, all the ideas and beliefs, because whatever external environment you find yourself in, you are going to notice eventually that they actually help you to create beliefs. Your beliefs are based on that, your values, biases, prejudices, and even limitations, especially when you start honing in on them without a deep awareness and investigation. How you compare yourself to others to make you feel not good enough, how you view mistakes, how you view life. Are your mistakes devastating? Do you see it as failures or something to learn from or to redirect your life? All of these are prejudices and biases, all these things you're picking up from your external environment. So you have to stay alert to investigate and notice, because all of these are shaping you into who you are, the thing you call your life. Expose yourself to an environment of great ideas, inspiring ideas, higher thinking, higher knowledge, insights, and wisdom, such as this. And this is what spiritual retreats, things like spiritual retreats and events, the purpose they serve. Question everything. I love to tell people, question everything, examine it, analyze it, determine the usefulness of it in your life and the benefits, how it makes you feel, how is it going to help you to progress in your life, whether it's the external world or the inner world. Do not just lap up everything. Today, because there's so much information out there, we are like suckers just lapping up everything we were told today without really sitting down and making sense out of it. Okay? Now, if you're in a situation whereby you cannot change your external environment, because there will be aspects of your external environment that you cannot change, such as where you work or at home or the neighborhood in which you live. Maybe you cannot afford a change right now. Then you will have to do what one of my spiritual gurus taught us many, many years ago, which is, he said, you have to learn to go beyond your environment. So be in it, yet not of it. And in order to be able to do that, you have to think and be greater than the environment in which you find yourself in. So that you do not get entangled and lost in it, and you do not create some false identity with it. So you're going to have to learn to disidentify from it and disempower any opposing thoughts that you meet there. And one of the things that help you to disidentify and to create some level of separation between you and your environment is something such as meditation, so that you are not adversely affected by it. It helps you to bring you to a deeper place within yourself that allows you to function and operate calmly in it. even reading scriptures. These are just some examples of how you can go beyond your environment. You have to think and be greater than it. Another point I'd like to make is determine what kind of life you want, the kind of person you want to be, that new person, or according to the Bible, the new man or woman. So I would suggest engage with people and in activities that support and are aligned with this to fuel and fire up a new and beneficial way of thinking and being, and ensure that you deliberately and consciously avoid anything that is in opposition to this. Because if you don't, you will have to work even harder, make a greater effort to fire up the beneficial neurons to create, become the new person you want to be, the new reality you want. So when you go online and you're watching videos and you look at one and you think it's, oh, this is a great one to help me create the new person I want to become or the new reality I'd like to have experience in my life, and there's another video flashing there, grasping your attention, and you click on it and you watch it, and it may be actually something that will work in opposition to what you want to achieve and bring you down. But what do? You're so addictive, you get hooked in it and you watch it anyway. What ends up happening is you're going to have conflict in yourself, and you're going to have to work even harder now to fire up the new way of thinking that you want to reinforce. The other thing to do is to engage in self-talk. Say positive, good, and empowering things to yourself, as it suggested in the Bible earlier when I said they say to have good communication. Let that communication be self-talk. Talk to yourself. When opposing thoughts arise, because they will, as there are already layers of opposing thoughts in you, do not give them much importance. Just let it arise, become aware of them, and this will disable them, dissolve them, disempower them. Do some self-talk. Instead of, for example, when doubt arises, start saying to yourself, doubt, I'm not believing you. Yes, I can. And believe it. So it solidifies and amplifies. And this is where the power of faith in God comes in. A power of faith in a higher power, greater intelligence comes in, because this faith is what will help you to reinforce your belief that you can, because God can. And that reinforces the can-do spirit, and belief. And it gets energized and amplified to cross that threshold potential, converting the potential or possibility into a new reality. Just a caution. When you implement these suggested ways to reinforce your new and elevated way of thinking, it doesn't mean to say that challenging situations or events wouldn't come your way. But because you have a renewed mind now, you will be better equipped to deal with these in a much more enlightening way. You see, challenges will be there in life, and they're there not for you to be brought down and to stay in continuous suffering, but they are there to shape us all into a new person, to become a better human being. So always remember that. They come into our lives to challenge us so that it's the means or the instrument for us to transform and evolve. But we can only do that when we stay alert and become very self-aware. And just to conclude, let me leave you with this. To create a new person, that new man or new woman according to the Holy Bible, or a new reality, you must change the thoughts you give power to create good emotions and intentions and beliefs, so as to produce empowering behaviors and actions. Where all of these are in alignment, where they are coherent, working beneficially together for you. This is when transformation occurs. When you change within, life changes for you. And this is when change feels like grace, according to that verse in the Holy Bible. And it seems even miraculous at times. The second point I want to leave you with is to stay ever alert, aware, and attentive to everything that makes up your external environment, as it affects your internal environment and shapes you, shapes your life. And staying alert and aware, I just don't want you to go about staying alert like that, okay? Aware, aware. No, that is too stressful. It's not meant to create stress in your life if you have to stay aware. No stress, no tension in your awareness, okay? It is there really so that to help you eliminate the stress and the tension in your life and to create some space in you, in your life for joy. If it is one thing I want you to take away with you, is this, of course, to become self-aware. Be constantly aware of the network of neurons you are forming, what you are firing and wiring together to create a new person, what you're allowing to cross that threshold potential to become a reality in your world. Is the new person, the new reality you're creating, the one you want? What are the kind of thinking you are firing together? Okay? Because that is what creates your reality. Take this away, and you would begin to feel as though your life is improving and it feels better because you are different within. Whether or not the outside changes, the important thing is that the inner is changing. And this is self-awareness.